Radio in motion program loading in 3, 2, 1. Program activated.
Attention everyone, the unpleasant noise you are about to hear coming from your radio is not a mistake.
Okay, first things first, what is your name?
This is Big Sonny playing the best of the 90s and beyond.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah. Radio in motion.
Please do not turn off your radio, but turn up the volume on your receiver as high as it can go.
All right, ready? Here we go.
Radio in motion.
All right, welcome back to the show. Thanks for joining me tonight on our Total Tron episode. This is paying homage to the Tron series of movies, which when I was a kid, I thought, well, there'd only be one. But folks, they keep making them. But look, you're going to enjoy it because the great thing is that the last Tron movie, Tron Legacy, the soundtrack was brilliantly done by Daft Punk. An absolute immersive experience. And this one, the movie that I'm going to try to do a spoiler-free review and have a bit of a chat about it. This is Tron Ares, out now. The soundtrack is done by 9 Inch Nails. Now, it's sort of like comparing apples and oranges here. And again, I'll get more specific a bit later. But essentially, the 9 Inch Nails soundtrack is awesome. You know, I've listened to it on its own, and it's just two different styles. But funny enough, there's a lot of 80s references. So in the Tron Ares movie, there's also references to Depeche Mode. So we'll certainly be mixing that in, and a lot of other, you know, electronica sounds, and plenty on the Daft Punk, album library. But 9 Inch Nails and a whole lot more. But for right now, we're going to dive into another episode of The Ugly Truth and doing a movie review. And look, the ugly truth with this one is that I feel like Tron Ares is the long-awaited sequel that probably should have stayed in the grid. Now, for those of you who aren't full Tron nerds, bear with me. I'm probably going to nerd out a bit with some of that stuff because I have grown up with that as part of something woven into pop culture, and Tron certainly a groundbreaker in the realm of computer animation, coming out in 1982. I think well beyond what anyone could even comprehend at the time. So, to start off, it has an amazing legacy. So I'm going to review it like an actual movie, like everyone does, and that's what happens with movies. You put your art out there, critics are going to criticize. But beyond that, I'm always going to say, first off, if you're a fan, go see it, or any movie in general. Don't listen to critics completely on their merit, and also don't even listen to the audience because their opinions may differ from yours. If it's about wanting to save money, then that's fine. I get it. But all in all, I'll say make your own decision on what movies you want to see. But I will do some spoiler-free moments. So essentially, this movie I think is interesting because, whatever, Jurassic Park, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Aliens, Predator, I could go on and on. Hollywood these days doesn't really seem to be able to come up with any new ideas. All they know how to do is grab, especially, I am mostly talking about Disney here. What can I say? Disney has ended up becoming the real empire from Star Wars. But they really just dredge up IPs that are already there and say, well, there's already a built-in audience. Let's just keep going. But, they've pretty much ruined every IP they've touched, whether it's Star Wars or Marvel or anything, Lucasfilm, Indiana Jones. And, it looks like they're not stopping. Now, Tron was their own baby, okay? Tron, the original Tron, is a Disney movie. But in typical Disney style, the MO is to toss the legacy and push the new. And that's fine, I get that. Someone once said, well, these movies aren't for you anymore. They're for the next generation. That's fine. But don't say things like sequels, just say it's a new movie. If you tell someone it's a continuation of the storyline and the characters that you have come to enjoy and the world building that has been built, don't say that it's going to continue if it's not continuing. And then I will say, the movie in general, we're getting close to the world where AI, and funny enough, Tron, another trendsetter in the world of talking about artificial intelligence and the digital world, and far, way before anything like the Matrix or anything that you've seen in more modern times that you would think would dive into the subject of AI. They were right into it. But funny enough, now I feel like AI is getting close enough where a lot of studios might just say, could AI have written a better movie? And I'm going to say about the writing. I'm not going to say the hard work and the visuals that I'm going to talk about that were amazing, and the hard work that people put into it. But yeah, I am going to have a go at the writers and the script, and they need to step up. Or someone is just going to say, you know what, AI, just junk in and junk out and give me what you got. Hey, that's not bad. Let's go with the AI version. So look, I'm going to go quickly sort of in the middle and talk about Tron Legacy. That was the one that we thought we were going to get a sequel to from 2010, which, funny enough, now I cannot believe, oh my God, it's been that long since Tron Legacy. Now that seems like an archaic movie, not even to mention original Tron in 1982. So 2010, it was the movie also that we didn't know we needed or wanted. Whatever. Tron could be, there can be standalone movies. There can be Raging Bull. There can be movies that are a one-off, and you don't need to see another one. But again, Hollywood loves its sequels. But that one was actually at least a continuation. And for those who know, you know. For those who don't, look, this was around a digital world. It was, the main character, Kevin Flynn, played by Jeff Bridges, and Bruce Boxleitner was actually the character called Tron. Essentially, they were all computer geeks, well ahead, again, of the curve of today's understanding of computer programmers. And they worked for the company, called Encom, and essentially the real world ended up mixing with the actual virtual world, and a very original archaic version of something like The Matrix. But again, we're talking very basic 80s style computer animation and an idea of what the digital world looks like. And again, without going too much into it, if you haven't seen it, go see it. I can't help you. But again, that was the original, Jeff Bridges' character, Kevin Flynn, gets sucked into the digital realm called the grid with a laser which never really gets explained and frankly keeps getting used throughout the Tron series without really being explained. It's this giant laser that digitizes you. Amazing. And guess what? Spoiler alert, it undigitizes you. So yes, you get to go in and you can come back and be human. Awesome. But once you accept that, that reality, like any movie, then you can move forward. And at least Tron Legacy continued with that legacy. There was the son, Sam Flynn, played by Garrett Hedlund, and Olivia Wilde played a person in the digital world called Cora, and it at least had, like I say, a link to Tron and Jeff Bridges. And you know what? Here's the thing about that one. It gained a bit of a following afterwards. Funny enough, this is like the original Tron. So I'll give you some context about the original Tron. In 1982, it was up against movies like E.T., and it was so far ahead of its time. Again, it was computer animation. There was a snippet at the beginning in the human world, in our normal world, and the entire rest of the movie was inside the grid, inside the digital world. And quickly going to nerd out, it was a completely different time. In that case, you know what? The story was kind of weak back then too. It was. It was about the spectacle of the computer animation that was the center point of that movie. And that's what was amazing about it. And let me say, a teenager today can probably recreate the effects of the original Tron, but that's not fair, because back then they didn't even have, think of this, they didn't even have the concept of a screen to generate any of the CGI light cycles and the worlds and the backgrounds and all the vehicles. All they had were numbers. So just picture that. If you think you're an amazing, graphic artist and coder, all they had were the numbers. I need a sphere, all the numbers. I need a rectangle, all the numbers. All they could do was code the numbers, and the only way, and this is kind of cool, the only way they could see their work, to even see if it worked before they say, well, let's keep going, was to generate that and then actually produce it onto film and then go watch it in the, the preview room, the projection, project it on the screen. They didn't have a monitor to play it back on because no such thing existed. Computer monitors were just displaying numbers and letters. That's all computers did. It wasn't a screen like we have today. So first of all, these were amazing trendsetters out in the ocean of inventing this. The whole room filled with giant computers, which probably, had 100 megabytes of memory. I mean, a gig would have been amazing. A gig, oh my God, how many hard drives is that? So, okay, even if you just look at some Tron images, you have to respect the amazing CGI before CGI was even a thing. And frankly, because it was a bit too ahead of its time, it technically kind of flopped. No one really went to the theater to say, oh, wow, well, you've got to see the latest CGI movie. What? What is this? What is Tron? I don't understand. I don't even know what I'm looking at. Disney, they do cartoons, yeah? They do Snow White. They do Cinderella. What's this? What's this computer thing? Too far ahead of its time, I think. So when Legacy came around, 2010, okay, safe to say that the CGI leaps and bounds, again, being the GOAT, the actual, grandfather of this, Tron starting the spark of a lot of that, we wouldn't be where we are in the CGI world. So it's nice to have that sequel to say, well, look what we can do now. Was the story any good? Not bad, I don't think, because again, it at least had that father and son element. Goes without saying that the CGI was amazing. And like I say, the Daft Punk soundtrack, they really did, I think, honestly spend time on each scene, crafting a theme for each scene, each person, each mood. And again, I'm not comparing it to Nine Inch Nails. I'm just saying, for Tron Legacy, Daft Punk was the perfect match. And so, what did Legacy promise, considering it was a movie that nobody wanted? I think what it promised was, again, an immersive experience, at least in this world that Tron started, but we're going to show you what it could look like now. And they did that. They delivered on the visuals, the audio. Apparently, I didn't see it in 3D, but apparently the 3D experience is one of the best, seeing it at the theater. And again, it opened to mixed reviews, and fans really didn't go see it. However, I still keep talking about the first two. The original Tron found a following in the world of VHS. What in the heck's VHS? Well, if you're old enough, you know. It found it in the world of video, or just being on TV or being on cable. And then other generations, or as, I was very young when it came out too. As I got older, I started to appreciate it more. And it found a following and then found its way into pop culture history, Tron. Whether you love it or hate it, it's there. And Tron Legacy kind of did the same thing. People are like, well, I don't know. It wasn't the best. Again, they were pushing the envelope. There was some Uncanny Valley stuff with Jeff Bridges where they de-aged him. Again, 2010 is kind of like pioneering days yet again. You look at how the Marvel movies started to do that. They started to have de-aging. Some people don't like that, but, Tron Legacy was one of those first ones. They had a de-aged Jeff Bridges, and it looked a bit, the uncanny, freaking out. What am I looking at? But you've got to start there before you get to, again, current AI, which is scary. So it found a following, and people would excuse anything that was a little bit quirky or not weak in the story, because frankly, it still made up for it, like I say, in the immersive experience. And there was some cool father and son connection story, and even some pretty cool philosophy with Jeff Bridges. And look, it's not really a spoiler. If you haven't seen it, this won't destroy it to you. There was an interesting take there. It was something about, rather than the programs being created, they call the users, that's us, the people creating them. They think that we're their gods. Well, we created them. There was something called ISOs, and that's what Quora was, as in Sam Flynn asked his father, Kevin Flynn, Jeff Bridges, did you create the ISOs? And he's saying, no, man, they sprang to life on their own. It's a bad Jeff Bridges. But so that was the kind of cool thing. They says, the environment was right, and just like life on Earth, however life first sprang to life, the right ingredients were there. So the ISOs came to life on their own in the grid, their own AI conscious beings. That's kind of cool, and there was that connection there. So Tron Legacy, not so bad, because people forgave it and said, all right, I'll add it to the lineup of Tron. Now we have 2025, we have Tron Ares. So again, I'll say what went wrong with Tron Ares. First of all, no Tron. So Bruce Boxleitner plays the character of Tron, and he is supposed to be the actual security and guardian of the grid, and that's his role. That's how he was created as a program. So the actor himself, Disney didn't even ask him. So obviously they had other plans already. So he wasn't even asked to be in this one. And yes, he was in Tron Legacy enough that it was respectful to say, oh, that's cool. The actual namesake is in the movie, Tron. But yeah, he wasn't even asked. So, and the other characters, Sam Flynn and Cora, also aren't back. I heard rumors, though, that they asked the actors that, but they didn't want to do it, which can happen. But so first of all, so that's the problem right there. There's no connection to honoring the legacy. So that's out the window. It feels more like a spin-off than an actual continuation. I feel like it would have been better off being just a short series, honestly. Because I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's not movie quality, and it doesn't feel connected. So, and there was an animated series called Tron Uprising. They could have done something like that, I think, and it would have been fine. And Disney could have made some money and tested the waters to see if there's still a desire to see more Tron, rather than going all in on this cast. Now, the second thing, and I'm sorry, I have to call it out. Whenever I critique a movie, I say I'm not having a go at the hardworking people, the camera guy, the electricians, the audio guys, the person getting coffee, everyone who's working on that movie, hundreds of people. It's a job. They're doing their job. But the writing, you got to start somewhere. And the script, if that's bad, the best acting in the world can kind of mask it a bit, but they can't save it. And I think the writing in this was just so clunky. The one of the things, again, this isn't a spoiler, but I'll point out, I hate modern movies that do this. It was constantly stopping for explanations and exposition, as in movies used to just show you something happened, an explosion, or someone was handed a disc or something, they read something and they made a face, and they did something. And as the audience, we're not that dumb. We get it, or maybe we take a couple beats to catch up, and that's the point. But the actors, the characters in the movie, they should certainly get it. It's that bad that a lot of the times they were explaining to each other. They'd get in the car scene. I'll tell you about that in a minute. They'll get in a situation, and they will constantly talk to each other as if they're talking to the audience, explaining what just happened. There's a scene, again, it's not a spoiler. So Ares is played by Jared Leto. I haven't gone across the new cast, By the way, I think it's a very mismatched cast. Ares, played by Jared Leto. Eve Kim, the new CEO of NCOM, played by Greta Lee. Gillian Anderson plays the daughter of the original baddie. His name was Dillinger. There's the grandson named Julian Dillinger. He's the grandson, played by Evan Peters. Again, they're not bad actors, but I think they were a mismatched cast. And the writing and the script, I don't think they knew what to do with it. So Jared Leto as Ares was being asked, what happened back there? And he goes, I disobeyed my programming. Why did you do that? What were your orders to delete you? You know, the audience, we already got that. We got the gist of that. We saw it. We understand that. It used to just be an actor would say like one line like, ha, that was a tough situation, or, oh boy, they almost got us, or you know, I ain't having none of that. Even if it's an Arnie one-liner, you can say something, but you don't have to rehash the entire plot to make sure we're all caught up. You might as well turn to the audience and say, everyone caught up now? All right, let's turn the page and stay along. Can you keep up? It's frustrating. Also, again, I have to say with a lot of movies that they're so fast-paced, they think everything has to be action-oriented. They don't give you a moment to breathe. It just keeps going and going. And then when they do stop and have this annoying exposition, it feels like time has stopped and it's the longest thing in the world. So I will tell you, there was this car scene in the movie. And again, I'm saying this to understand that the writing and the setup is bad. There was just, a dump of exposition. It seemed like it dragged the film to a dead stop. And this was all just taking place in the car for a good just 5 minutes while they just talked. And, oh, so what do you think about this? Oh, you really? Well, my desire is this, and I'm doing it for this. Oh, that's fascinating. I'm like, oh my God, we could have gotten here in more clever dialogue rather than you just spelling it out for us on the screen, like on a chalkboard. The other weird thing I have to point out, again, if you've seen the trailers, you get the gist of this. The original Tron, I know that they're represented by humans in the digital world, just like something like the Matrix. Although the Matrix is different. That's supposed to be a representation of actual Earth. This is supposed to be what you would imagine inside a computer would be, especially in the 80s. A digital world, a digitized version of you, a computer animated version of everything. And so, like computers, it had a very clean look to it. What I'm alluding to is, it seems weird that the Jared Leto character has a beard and long stringy hair. It just seems to go against everyone has this just normal, clean look because they're a representation of a human. They don't necessarily need to be a hippie-looking guy. And I think it's a bit of laziness. The character Ares looks like that because Jared Leto looks like that. He's probably like, no, it's in my contract. I gotta keep my hair. So just make the character have hair, even though it makes no sense because I'm a computer. I'm a computer program, but I have hair. Yes, I will say in the original, there was a program in the digital world that had a beard. He was an old man, but it still seemed more normal than Jared Leto always being Jared Leto. Anyway, that's just a little pet peeve. So that I remember that the old Guardian, his name was Dumont, and in the real world he was Dr. Gibbs. So again, that might be a bit of laziness. Oh well, he's an old man with a beard in the real world. We'll just make him an old man with a beard on the grid. It's annoying that Jared Leto is always Jared Leto. So let's talk about Jared Leto. I feel like Hollywood keeps pushing him and saying he's a thing, but he's not a thing. Audiences keep resisting. And again, he's done some great things. I think he's better as a side character, the Dallas Buyers Club. But when he is taken more to the lead, Joker, Morbius, and now it's Tron Ares, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't think he's got the chops to carry that kind of lead role. And not everyone does. Just lean into what you can do. But like I said, that's one of those this has happened with other sort of actors. Hollywood goes, oh, he's a thing. And the audience goes, he's not a thing. You can't just engineer a thing. And yes, I'll go into this a bit too. The lead actress is the typical sort of strong female badass. And again, before you knock me, I've said this a million times before. I don't care what gender you are. I don't care what race you are. I don't care who you are as a person. Nothing to do with gender. Has to do with a well-written character. Has to do with actually having a hero's journey and actually earning what you've done in the movie, not just going, I'm badass, and everyone, you're nothing. Badass, it just gets old. So yeah, they've done the typical one with that and just made her badass in every way. There's a motorcycle scene because, of course, she has to be on a motorcycle because there are light cycles in Tron. And you know what? I ride a motorcycle, and she looks terrified on the thing. You know what I mean? At least do it right. If she's not sure about motorcycles, you need to get her some training. Every scene where she is on a motorcycle, I don't care. I'm sorry. Her face looks like she is stressed to the max, and she's holding on for dear life. And she looks like she is just frozen with fear and holding on for it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So let me talk a bit about world building. And like any series of movies, like I said, whether it's Star Wars, Terminator, Predator, Aliens, there's world building, and you should at least be consistent, whether it's 5 years apart or 20 years apart. And the new people, directors and writers who take that over, should at least have a look at that. In the original, I think it's interesting. The original, like I mentioned, the laser, it digitizes the humans into the digital world. In Ares, the rules sort of change. It's not about so much the humans going in. It's about the programs coming into our world. And that was alluded to at the end of Legacy, that the Tron world was going to possibly come into ours. Interesting. And I'll talk about that in a minute too. I think it's a bit of a lazy way to get a movie made, just making it in the human world. But so here's the MacGuffin, and mild spoiler. They can bring the programs into the real world, and the MacGuffin is the trick that they're all searching for to have this breakthrough, is that they can only be in our world for 29 minutes. And the evil CEO, Dillinger's grandson, they have their own company now. He wants to use the programs from the Tron world and all the light cycles and tanks, all the equipment, all the things they can imagine just by typing on the computer that they can create, so they could bring it into the real world with the magic laser again, and these magic plastic sticks, or they have to have something to form from, something solid. So the magic laser and the magic plastic brings them to the real world. All right, you're all caught up, but they can only stay here for 29 minutes. I thought that was a bit lame, but whatever. So they're all searching for a way for, it's called permanency, the permanence code, to stay in the real world permanently. So I'm going to get nerdy. World building. In the original Tron movie, it wasn't Kevin Flynn that created this laser, so it wasn't this secret private thing. This was an Encom creation, the company that Flynn worked for and ultimately took over, and then his son took over, and here we are now with the new lead character that I mentioned, because again, Sam Flynn has disappeared, Quora has disappeared, so Eve Kim is the new CEO of Encom, and Julian Dillinger is the CEO of the Dillinger Company. So those are the two warring companies now. But essentially, I have to talk about this laser. So the original laser was an invention of Encom. Even Flynn was surprised kind of by it when he was taken surprised by it and thrown into the digital world. It's funny that in this movie, the whole time everyone is obsessed with they need to find the technology for the laser to be able to get people out. so they could send people in. And there was one moment where they're like, oh, okay, we know how to bring the programs out. Oh, but how do you get in? I'm just annoyed because the original movie literally had the scene where Flynn went in, and at the end, Flynn came out. Sorry, if you haven't seen it, there's the spoiler. He went in and came out, and the laser did it all. Done. Now, all of a sudden, everyone's lost that technology. Anyway, it's little things like that. Just at least watch the original movie so you can have some consistency between the universe. And also, I'll be honest, this is what's a bit wrong with Tron Ares. In the first two, we start off in the human world, and we go into the digital world, and we stay there. And that's how all sort of the unbelievable becomes believable. You know what I mean? Suspension of disbelief. You're like, okay, I get it. We're in the digital world. I'll buy it. Let's go. The problem here is they kept cutting between the real world and the digital world. And I'll be honest, it starts to make that premise look really hokey. So in the original, and like some other movies, you see the guy on the computer, he's just typing the code. That's all he's doing, you know. And they kept that today, even though there may be other visuals on your screen to be able to, you know, interact with the digital world, but it's still just code. So he's writing code, and in the original, then you slowly sort of fade and you're going down the rabbit hole, and then you're in the digital world. And I get it. You can see what that might represent. So you're creating a program to hack another program or to search for something. So in the computer world, there's a little robot representation guy saying, okay, I'm on my way. You know, in that world, they were in tanks or light cycles. And it shows the representation of that. Okay, I'm going there. Oh, I'm looking, I'm searching. It doesn't seem as hokey when you just go one way. In this one, they would go back and forth. So you see the guy typing. He's trying to hack the other system, trying to hack a computer. In our world, that's just numbers, codes, passwords. In the digital world, it's represented by the little programs literally scaling the wall of the other company's giant tower with all of its secrets hidden inside and all of its servers. But this is in the digital world. And instead of the guy hacking code, you know, it's them, you know, shooting lasers and breaking through a wall. And yeah, come on, let's go. Let's get the troops. When you're cutting back and forth, I'm going to be honest, it kind of feels ridiculous. So that's just a word to the wise to not do that again. So yeah, between the writing and no legacy characters, and I'm sorry, the cast that I mentioned, I just don't think they were the right cast. They all seem so wooden and terrible. And yeah, no consistency with the world building. Let me talk about the visuals and sounds. Nine Inch Nails versus Daft Punk. Again, it's two different things. You know, Daft Punk, when they scored Legacy, it was really woven into the film, atmospheric. You know, it was the themes. It was immersive. Nine Inch Nails, I think the tracks are good. I've listened to them on their own. You know, I'm gonna blame the movie sound mix. And someone else has mentioned this. In the original one, they give you a chance to breathe, and there'd be themes, and then it would start. It would start building and building, then it'd be quiet, and then another one would start, and it would go. Every time someone does anything in this movie, they hit a button, they switch a light, they turn and just look at someone, the music just blasts. So I blame the sound mix guy, ultimately, because the Nine Inch Nails soundtrack is just blasted in this movie for no reason. Like I say, someone goes, all right, go. It just comes at you like a wall, and they don't give you time to breathe, which is annoying. So it's just different. The visuals, yeah, they were sleek. The original Tron sort of tone is a lot of blue toned and sharp. This one seemed to be all red, which is like representative of the bad guys. Yeah, and again, the visuals, of course, they're great. That's what they do. But so this is one final thing: the script and the character issues. This movie is sort of a tale of two scripts. Disney was thinking about either one of these. One was deeply rooted in the digital world lore, and it was going to continue with Sam Flynn and Cora, and we're going to see how that developed. And again, that would have been an immersive experience again in the digital world. The other idea was probably the cheaper one, which was more real world and where they brought the programs to our world. It's easier to send a camera out and film a building than to have nowadays an entire room of people, creating the digital world. But yeah, the version they went with, which was, number 2, the real world, I just think it was poorly written and poorly acted, unfortunately. Bad lines. Just Jared Leto just saying things as the character. I like the 80s. I like Depeche Mode. I like 80s cars. Just trying to throw in member berries, Why? I don't know. I just do. Who wrote this? I don't know. Sorry, I told you I was going to get nerdy with this one. A quick word about light cycles. On the grid, they make sense. So on the grid, it is, in the original, it was where they sort of made programs go when they kind of wanted to get rid of them, but they did it in a way of battling, and they were like warriors. So they would battle on the grid for their life, and instead of motorcycles, we do this as light cycles. And again, back then in '82, it was really a very cool early day CGI design of a light cycle. It's cool, and the whole thing is behind the light cycles there's a trail of light, which the whole point is they go on the grid. There's a bunch of light cycles. They battle the opposite team, and as you go along, you have to make moves to cut off the other person. By the way, this is all based on a video game, if you don't know that, which is the same premise. When you turn in front of the other light cycle, you crash into it, you die. In the real world, they just seem to be like normal motorcycles. I don't know if they have real wheels that can get on the road. And again, I know I'm getting too specific, but pick a lane. The laser light trails, are they dangerous or not? Because they can cut a police car in half. They can cut things in half. But there's a scene where the main character, she's enclosed by them. They went around her to like enclose her, and she's like touching them like they're cellophane plastic. Just pick one. What are they? Are they deadly? Are they not deadly? So I also think, I think this movie's it's timing and release sort of tragedy. It's a victim of streaming culture too. It really is. In the past, word of mouth could build over time. Even now, if I'm doing a review, it gets online. I think now it gets bad buzz on the opening weekend. It's kind of like game over, and then people will just wait for streaming, and that's a bit sad. People choose with their wallets these days. That's the problem. It used to be a movie would stay a month, a couple months, even if it wasn't doing that good. They would allow it to be released in more theaters, longer time, and then it would come out video ages later, it seems like. Now, again, a number cruncher's going, I don't know, maybe they give up quick, and then it goes to streaming right away, and they're like, oh, we'll try to pick up some money there. I don't think that helps. Whether a movie's doing good or bad, you know what I mean? Yes, if a movie is just amazing, it'll keep going. But people just wait for streaming now. And, Hollywood did that to itself. They really did. Like I say, people decide with their wallets sometimes. There is something interesting happening on Rotten Tomatoes. Not that I listen to that as Bible, because I don't. But usually if the critic score is high and the audience is low, it is crap. But, again, you make your own choice. And this one, the audience score is surprisingly high. I think it's over 70%, and the critics don't like it. What's my personal opinion? I'm a Tron fan. Of course, I wanted to see it in the movies. I wanted to hear the soundtrack. I wanted to see the visuals, and I just wanted to see what they did. I didn't hate it, but all the things I'm pointing out don't help it. And I still think they let it down, ultimately. What went wrong? Wrong story, wrong cast, wrong tone, and wrong time. I think Legacy was a bit of a fluke when it came out. We didn't ask for it, and it came out of nowhere. Interesting. Okay. Found a bit of a cult following. I think it had heart and vision, and at least a reason to exist, Tron Legacy. This one, too little, too late. It's just too late. I won't say anything else because anything else would be spoilers. But I will say, I wanted to talk about real quick, the girl boss problem. Again, this is not about female-driven roles or male-driven roles. It's about weak writing, we always say we've had amazing female leads, and I'll watch those movies over and over again because they earned it. Sarah Connor in Terminator, or Ellen Ripley, or even Trinity in The Matrix. There are strong leads because it was a well-written role, and they also didn't have to destroy their male counterpart, which seems to be the thing nowadays. It's just lazy writing. They're just inserted to serve serve the story or evolve, or organically, not to just check a box and deliver quippy lines with zero development. That doesn't help. Nobody rejects strong women like they wouldn't reject a strong man who earned it, who went on a hero's journey and showed you that they were good, not just said it. I'm good because said so. That's just lazy writing, and that there's no real story arc, no earned strength, and being part of a larger story. So that's where I'm at with Tron Ares. I saw it, I didn't hate it, but I don't think it was really a good connection to the other Tron movies, and I think that's just, I don't know, Disney playing it safe and took the cheaper route. And in the end, a good character is a good character. But in this movie, I think they should have stuck with something like a limited TV series or something, or an animated series, and left all this out. There are some member berries. I won't be specific, but that's fun, but still not enough to get the people out to say, yay, I went there to see 10 minutes of member berries, to, oh, that's cool, I remember that, I'm a fan. It's still not enough, and it's not going to be enough. I dare say it will more than likely be a flop, which makes me sad, because originally I had high hopes, but I don't know. That was it in a nutshell. Wrong story, wrong script, wrong cast, wrong time. I won't say wrong score. I will say bad mix, bad audio mix, good score. And they definitely missed their window. Would I still want to see Sam Flynn and Cora from The Legacy? If the actors wanted to do it, I can. I'm a glutton for punishment. I'm kind of curious about that story. If the actors don't want to do it, maybe they should just do a full animated one. I'm just saying. We could finish the story, and they don't have to be seen. They could just phone it in. They could do the voice. All right, that's it for my review of Tron Ares. Thanks for joining me and nerding out a bit, because, like I say, the original had quite a legacy, and it was a lot of hard work for something that was groundbreaking, and it's nice to at least respect that. And I think Legacy did, and I think this one is just trying to, squeeze more money out of the IP, like Disney is famous for, with everything they touch, like I said. And it's a problem, and it's going to bite them in the ass soon, if it hasn't already. All right, but we will continue tonight with some awesome tracks from or inspired by all the Tron series on our Total Tron. All right, you're listening to Radio in Motion. We'll be right back after a word from our awesome sponsors.